All right, welcome everybody. I'm Driggs and this is The Sticks. You may notice that once again I am by myself. And in fact, tonight there are no guests. So this is the first Sticks show that I'll be doing solo. I got a text from Marco today. He's still in the boonies and he was saying that he was baling hay, doing lifting. I'm like, dude, I thought you were out there to do some wagering on some country activities. I didn't realize you were out there to work on a farm. I don't understand how that's a vacation. I don't get it, but maybe he'll be back tomorrow and we'll have some questions for him about the about his endeavors, whatever it is he's up to. But you'll see I put my hair back. I tightened it around the ears because I am ready to go. We are grinding here in the sticks. So let's take an immediate look at the game action. Unfortunately, Mr. Dale suggested the Atlanta Brave Washington National game. And even though the Braves are climbing back here in the bottom of the ninth, having made it a one-run game, the bottom line is my analysis failed to take into account how bad Tui Toussaint really is. I thought his ERA was just overinflated, but no, his entire pitching is overinflated. So the Braves have a little comeback here, but we took the first five, and he just gave up a bunch of runs early, and there was no coming back from that. Meanwhile, the Yankees are looking to extend their winning streak against Boston. No real surprise there, but there is no value in that game. The Mets all over Miami, and that was our win tonight. We had the Mets team total over 4.5. We figured they'd get somewhere in the range of 6+, and that's coming true. So we feel good about that one. Minnesota beating Kansas City, shutting them out actually. Detroit and the White Sox playing in the seventh with the White Sox up 5-2. San Diego is recovering from their atrocious weekend against Arizona and is up 7-2. So that is not all that surprising, as Texas was due for a little bit of a letdown after their really good performance in Colorado, which kind of snake bit us a little bit. Houston up 2-1 against Colorado. Colorado on the road, only one hit through 5. And Arizona just got a run in the bottom of the third to go up 1-0. And that's our final game tonight. We've got Arizona on the money line. The spot is setting up for an Oakland letdown. So we need to grind that out to a 2-2 night, and that's where we're hoping to come in, because we took a little bit of a flyer on Baltimore at home against Toronto, trying to ride Cobb a little bit more than what he's capable of. Toronto, their bats are just are back, and so we went against these Jays in the first 5, hoping to just take the plus half a run at home on the very low juice Baltimore team with a pitcher who'd been pretty effective so far, and that didn't play out. So some misreads there. That happens, and hopefully we can grind out a 2-2 night as Seattle just takes the lead over the Dodgers 7-6 in the third. So that's going to be an insane game. I don't think 7 runs is going to be enough to win that one. The Angels have tied San Francisco at 2, and the Cardinals did not sweep the Cubs. Looked like they were going to sweep the Cubs, but the Cubs come up with 4 in the 6th to snag a victory on the road at home in order to split that series. So we are now one day into the new week. Hopefully we're at 2-2, but there's a chance we're 1-3, and we'll have to grind back from whatever the situation is. But this week starting out the way last week went, with just trying to hover, tread water, and get to even. This is tough stuff, but we feel confident in our analysis and our breakdowns, and we know that if we stay true to our course, we're going to be profitable overall and in the long run, and we remain profitable. So even though we lost the First read flyer today to bring us to 10-5 overall. We'll take 10-5 any day, but let's honestly break that down. We started off going 4-0, and so since that hot start, we're now 6-5. So pretty much that means after our hot start, we're performing like the Miami Marlins. However, that kind of hot start just might be good enough to get you into the playoffs. In other words, we want to not run out of steam here on that play. So tonight, since I'm doing this show solo, the first person who texts in, and I will limit this to the first person who either texts or emails, I prefer an email, to picksforsticks@gmail.com. After we do the first read, I'll do a cap of that game, and hopefully we'll get back into the winning ways with that. I was having dinner with the folks tonight. Mom made an unbelievably delicious lamb. And the whole time she kept saying, I think it's overdone. I don't remember how to cook this. What do you mean you don't remember how to cook this? You've cooked lamb 5 million times ever since I was a child. Just cook it that way. It's great. And she did whatever she did. I wasn't in the kitchen. I was having a conversation with Dad, and I'll tell you about that conversation soon. But you should know the lamb came out absolutely perfect. She made a pile of the chops, and so we all got to reach in and grab our chop, and Dad and I grabbed the same chop, which is strange because I grabbed the bone, he grabbed the meat portion, which was strange. And I'm like, all right, Dad, not only are you Dad, so you get the chop, but if you're willing to grab the meat portion of the chop portion of the lamb chop, that chop is yours. I know that's an unwritten rule somewhere, but when two people go for the chop, the person who grabs the meat gets the chop. And that isn't just out of respect for the grab, it's out of respect for the COVID, because who wants to eat the most recently touched chop of someone else's grab? Even if it's your father, you're still social distancing and you're still trying. I mean, how ridiculous would that be if you have to explain to people the reason you got COVID was because you insisted on eating the chop that was grabbed by your dad? So there is no rational basis to defend the fact that I would claim that as my chop. So Dad got the chop and I got the great story because, as you may know or may not know, depending on how long you've been watching or not watching, Dad is a professor. He's a professor. Now, while I'm an adjunct professor, I teach high school, and you know, I think of myself as a doctor too, but the true Dr. Berger is Dr. Berger. And today was the first day of the return to class for our high school students. But it wasn't to class. We're doing distant learning. I'm sorry, I have to take the hair down for this. We're doing distant learning. And so the kids are all tuning into the Zoom for the live classes. And Dad's asking me, so how was that? I'm all, they were all there. They're all there. You know, there are a couple kids absent, but they probably had tech issues. They're all there, Dad, and they're ready. You know, at no point in the history of the world have kids or students ever been more ready to go back to school. That's just the bottom line. I'm teaching seniors in high school, and these students, they're ready to go back, and they're all there. And I'm saying, and I'm teaching, and I'm loving it, and they're eating it up, and they're feeling great. And Dad's like, but do you think they're really learning? And I'm like, yeah, I think they are. And Dad says, well, you know, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but what difference does it make? So what do you mean, what difference does it make? It's school, they got to learn. And he says, well, do they really? Isn't it more about the skills and the knowledge? I mean, how important is content knowledge, he asks. And he says, let me tell you a story. So he says when he was in high school, so back to 1961, because I asked, what year is this? He says 61. He says, I'm in AP. It wasn't AP. He says, I'm in honors English. They didn't have AP then, but he's in honors English, senior in honors English, and they're breaking, they're just breaking them down, these honors students in 61. Dad's like, The valedictorian is in the class. He's number 1. Dad's saying he's number 4. They had number 6 and number 7 and number 8 all in the same class. So they're all fighting for the best grade. And Dad still thinks he's got a chance to be valedictorian of the high school. So he's saying, Michael, so we're in this class and it's AP honors. And what are we studying? We're studying Greek mythology. We're studying the Brothers Karamazov. He says, Michael, there was no point in time in high school where I was more committed to learning the content than in that class because I was competing against the number 1 student with the chance to be valedictorian. How much of that content do you think I remember today? And I said, well, I assume you remember all of it. You're a genius. He says, nah, I don't remember much of Agamemnon. I don't remember much of Clytemnestra. I don't remember. I was saying, sounds to me like you remember quite a bit of it. He says, I don't remember Decius. I don't remember any of it. Now, I said, so maybe you don't remember all of it. And he says, but it's the process that is important. I said, I don't know about that, Dad. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, the only thing that mattered to me was baseball statistics. And I can tell you the batting average every year for Damaso Garcia, Rance Molyneux, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield. I was a Blue Jay fan. And it's totally random that these Jays have become part of our show, but I could tell you their batting averages. I could tell you how many stolen bases they had. I could tell you all sorts of facts. I could tell you all of it. I remember it all. See how important content is, Dad? And he looks at me and says, well, when has that ever been important in your life? And I said, actually, never. He says, see, you remember the content? I don't. Doesn't matter. We learned how to read and write. Teach them how to read and write. So I guess Dad's right again. And we'll work with these kids however we have to. They're anxious to learn. I'm anxious to teach. And ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter as long as we're engaged in education. So talking about education, I want to tell you about the Cleveland Indians story I came across today. So we all know Clevenger has been sent down and was optioned with Plesac, the 2 of them, both sent down. And today we learned that Oliver Perez reportedly threatened to opt out of the remainder of the 2020 season if Clevenger and Plesac were brought back to the Major League Baseball club. And I mean, these guys really standing up on principle. They lied to us. They deceived us. They broke the protocols. And Perez threatening to opt out if they're brought back on principle. Well, let me tell you something. The replacement for Clevenger is Plutko or Pletko or Plotko, whoever he is. The bottom line is he sucks. So maybe you want to forgive and forget. Perhaps, maybe let this one go. Accept the apology, forgive. That's just a suggestion. Maybe you want Clevenger and Plesac back because you're trying to win the tournament. Come on, Oliver Perez, have a heart. Just perspective. But I got another spam text. I have to share this spam text with you. This one may be my favorite. This is great. The spammer writes, need more winners today? We got your back. Really? We got your back. And then this is the best part. We're looking for serious bettors only. And he's screaming it at me. We're looking for serious bettors only. Well, sorry, dude. You almost had me, but I'm out. I mean, have you ever seen our show? Have you ever seen the show? The Sticks? The one thing you can say about us is whatever we are, whatever we may be, we are not serious. So sorry, dude, you almost had me, but how about if you're looking for a semi-serious wallower, a semi-serious individual who never would ever possibly celebrate a winning sports handicap? How about somebody who suffers their wins as much as they suffer their losses? How about somebody who puts in as much time to the pain and misery of trying to figure out the cap of a particular game instead of just saying, we got your back? You don't have my back. You don't have anybody's back. All you have is your own pocketbooks. So I will stick to the sticks, stick to the sticks. Meanwhile, let's check how our games are doing, cuz we kind of care about this stuff. So the Dodgers are still down, Arizona's still up, and the Angels are still even in those games that are in the evening games. No other changes going on to any of the other games, but kind of rooting for these home teams for a variety of reasons. So, one thing I am serious about, though, very serious, is the temperature in here. I need to turn on my fan. Who has made it so warm? So, one thing I'm very serious about is the baseball songs. So we've been making fun of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We've been having a fun time with that. There may be some more jokes about that song because that song is an all-time classic. But I honestly don't think Take Me Out to the Ball Game is the very best baseball song ever written. I think the very best baseball song ever written was written by Terry Cashman. That's what I think. And I think it's Talking Baseball. I think that's the best song. And when I was an 11-year-old kid and I was 11, 12, and I was just playing with my baseball cards, organizing them, putting them in order, somehow I got this 45, and I believe I got it at the World Series. And I believe my Uncle Morris bought this for me at the game. And it's possible my memory of that is just wrong. And so if somebody out there who is watching this is the person responsible for having bought me this 45 in 1980, 81, I'm sincerely grateful. And you should understand that I spent countless hours before I discovered the band Duran Duran, but I spent countless hours in 81, 82 with my baseball cards just playing this song. And so I want to play it today to it's not really a polemic, but I feel very strongly and very serious about this because I would count my baseball cards. I would prepare the cards I wanted to trade. I would ration the gum that I would eat. I would organize, and it was just me and those cards and this song. And if you don't know it, I think you'll appreciate it, but I want to try to play some of it. And then I want to tell you about what an idiot I was as a kid, thinking I knew so much about baseball. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But please, this is the first time I'm doing a solo show. I really would like to share this particular meaningful baseball experience with you. And so imagine me, an 11-year-old kid, just with my baseball cards and just tears in my eyes because I could relate to the passion behind this. And so I'm going to try to play this. And now it starts. The Whiz Kids had won it, Bobby Thompson had done it, and Yogi read the comics all the while. Yogi, I thought it was Yogi Bear. I'm 11, Yogi loves baseball. Rock and roll was being born, marijuana we would scorn, so down on the corner the next. Even then at 11, that line, marijuana we would scorn, just didn't seem reasonable to me, but that's a different story for a different show. National pastime went on trial, talking baseball. Baseball. And I couldn't sing even as a kid, but how do you listen to this song and not sing the word baseball? The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Luke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque. Especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. What a great chorus. Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. And hours. It was a 45, so it was done in 3 minutes, and I'd get up from the cards and I'd put it back onto the start of the song. And it's 1980, 81, 82. Remember, I got this at the World Series. What World Series? The Dodgers Yankees. So I was a huge Dodger fan. And even then, they were more boring to me than the Angels. I'm a DH, American League guy, but I was a Dodger fan. I knew the whole lineup. And so at the very end of the song, this is where I was such an idiot. Just listen to this portion of the song. It's the very end. You can find it. You can listen to the whole song. But this ending, it was so great. And I'd be so empowered. Mickey and the Duke, say hey, say hey, say hey. But I thought, as an 11, 12-year-old boy, I thought he was singing Ron Say, Ron Say. Now listen. Willie, Mickey and the Duke, Ron Say, Ron Say, Ron Say. I thought it was Ron Say, Ron Say, Ron Say. But how the hell did I know of Say Hey, the Say Hey Kid? I didn't know that was Willie Mays. I thought it was Ron Say. And if you listen to the whole song, all the greats are named, all the greats are aligned. And even as a 11, 12-year-old kid, I had no idea. I was like, why the hell did Ron Say get mentioned with Willie, Mickey, and the Duke? Are you kidding me? This is a great song. This guy is a Dodger. This guy's got a sense of humor. This guy, Terry Cashman, is a genius. Ron Say, Ron Say, Ron Say. A few years later, I figured out that wasn't Ron Say, to my chagrin, but I still love the song. So anyway, I'm going to skip the first reads tonight. I'm not going to do that segment. I've worn myself out. I've had nobody to bounce anything off of. This is a lonely show. I'm reminiscing about about Terry Cashman. I need some alone time. I need to get it together. I need to look at tomorrow's slate in private. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. There is nothing like baseball. I love baseball. There is no sport like baseball. And even with this tournament, making some absurdities with the rules, it's still baseball.